And welcome back to the Daily Space Weather, folks. Coming at you a second time as we ended the video abruptly. And let me just explain that while I switch to the Mission tab. I just felt an extreme pressure, a tremendous sense of dread, and decided to end this Daily Space Weather video early. It was just spur of the moment. When I left the control seat, I went and did some push-ups, and I just felt like crap. And it's partially because I got up at about 9 o'clock, and I laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed for about 3 hours, to the point where I was basically in pain, just sitting around trying to breathe. And frankly, I was dreading doing the rest of the slides, including the current updates on the Insanity Files section at smAsho.com/forum. So rather than deal with that, I just got the hell out of there. Anyway, let's talk about the smAsho mission, and thanks to everybody who's supporting it in whatever way you are, whether it's sharing on social media, being my agent, or doing any sort of things like that. Also, obviously, Patreons and subscribe stars. The mission is to assist, study, and report the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics. Just because we don't understand the physics doesn't mean there isn't physics to explain the observations we see in the universe. Let's go down to the number 2. Raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space weather and Earth effects. Welcome to space. All your weather comes from space, and Earth is basically part of space. It's also to connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach, demonstrate cutting-edge proof-of-concept solutions to problems, to publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary fashion, not limited to those sciences, to assist mankind by advancing the study of the predictive phenomenon, which is why we immerse ourselves in the data, to understand the way it relates to the other data, and to adapt no matter what the adversity is. And lastly, to not be ossified in our beliefs, and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion, which is part of the reason why we won't censor you, so please don't make a COVIDiot of yourself in the comments threads or on forums, because as long as the things you type are within the confines of the law, in other words, if you don't type anything that is a crime, which I doubt you'll figure that out, we won't censor you. So let's move on to the COVIDiacy, as I am about fed fully up with that. And one of the ways that it gets taken out is with a little bit of sunlight. I don't know if you're aware. And the next thing you know, it's out of there. So anyway, the mask wearing, I'm gonna lock myself in the bunker and not leave if the mask wearing continues. I can't take the mask wearing. I can't stand it. I can't stand seeing people in masks, and I can't stand having a mask on. I can't stand it. I have lots of masks. They're for certain purposes, and it is horrifying, as I get to go out in public about 5 days a week in the scope of my job, and it's, shall we say, unpleasant. Anyway, we've also updated the coronavirus section at smAsho.com/forum to include the most recent updates from the Swiss propaganda research page. And Denmark's getting some pretty low mortality figures. And I'm not going to read any of that stuff, but there's a lot of information on there. We updated it last night. So it'll be interesting to see what the mortality rate is, and I've been saying it for pushing 2 weeks now. The mortality rate is going to be 0.05 to 0.09%. Just a little bit less than 0.1% is what my guess is based on. And ultimately, we'll never really know, because people that don't present symptoms aren't going to get tested in many cases, and it's all a convoluted mess of sharticles. So there are there are so many sharticles and cherry-picked BS personal injury law firms putting up data that makes no sense on Facebook and getting reported as fake news. And yeah, people doing very, very, very ineffective things. Wearing masks, it's as effective as the TSA is at airport security. Let's talk about a random Medical Express article. Did you know that fat worms seem to not sleep as well as worms that aren't fat? And oh, please excuse me, I hear a COVIDiot who's trying to get himself put in jail outside the window. I'll be right back. Bye. 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 Okay, I was waving goodbye to a COVIDiot who's trying to get himself put in jail, and we'll just ignore that. Anyway, there seems to be some sort of a connection here with obesity and sleep patterns in worms. And frankly, I forget what this article is about, but there are a few different possible interactions between features on the worms. And the trespasser thinks he's going to hang out, so we'll see how that works out for him as he enjoys Fisher-Price, his first pandemic. Anyway, folks, cheers, your ancestors have survived pandemics. Otherwise, you wouldn't exist. And likely you'll survive this one. So don't freak out. Let's look at some weather features. How about the jet streams? There you have the western worlds. We have a concentration going on right above my head, actually. Here is the eastern world. And I've got to refresh these, folks. I apologize. Here is the water vapor map. That is for Africa and Europe. And we may have to get a COVIDiot sent to jail today. So we'll see what happens with that from here behind the toilet paper mic. Next, we'll look at the Far East and Oceania's water vapor maps. And that'll animate in 1 minute after it loads. Please bear with me as this is a live stream. There you go. Here's a lightning map, and we've got some serious lightning strikes happening here. Check it out. Shreveport, there's thunder rolling in. It's a real-time lightning map here at lightningmaps.org. Quite a bit of lightning there. Jeez. Check it out. And here's the U.S. water vapor map. I mean the U.S. Doppler radar. Still seeing some snow in northern PA and southern New York. And at about half of New England, actually. There you go. April 22nd, and snow's still falling in the east. And today we can actually look at the visible for once. We'll look at the actual visible. Yeah, there's somebody outside my window right now violating a PFA against the neighbor, and he's about, I don't know, 40 feet from his property on our property, refusing to leave when I wave goodbye. So, once again, he's messed with the bull, and he's going to continue to get the horns. He's not going to enjoy the outcome. Anyway, there's the U.S. Visible satellite for once, since we're actually broadcasting from daytime. And let's check the convergence over Louisiana, Mississippi. Not a whole lot to see. There's two different altitude air masses going on there. And thanks, Smash team, for tuning in and being patient with the Smash streams. Thanks to our patrons. And to those of you who aren't Patreons, consider subscribing over there at patreon.com/smAsho, as all the posts are free throughout April. So you'll get whatever benefits there are, and you get a demo of what the benefits are before we go back to paywall-only features in the different tiers, and also including at Subscribestar. Thanks everybody who contributes. Let's check the position of Dr. Steelshank, now at number 40 in the instrumental rock subgenre. And by the way, if you become a patron, you'll be able to download that track for free, as it got all the way up into the top 100 on the rock overall genre. Last but not least, let's look at the intensity gram of the sun. There you see no sunspots. Here's the magnetogram. There is some activity rising over here. You see something close to the equator, probably cycle 24 activity. And let's take one more last image here of 171 angstroms and close this thing out. Oh, one last thing. Don't forget to watch our earlier video about sharticles. So a new series we started this morning, because when I woke up very early, I was faced with so many sharticles that I had to make an entire video series about it. Terms defined, the sharticle. So anyway, we define sharticle. Keep calm, don't shart. And check that out if you haven't checked that out yet. Here's a 48-hour view of the sun from the SDO. And I guess I'll have to call the police for the 5th time on the same person. I won't name him in the video. He is he who shall not be named, and I'm going to vanish too. The first rule of being invisible is you don't talk about being invisible. Anyway, we're out. May you enjoy the covidiocy, and hopefully it won't step on your toes, and you'll step on its toes instead. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back.